Hi, Studio One. I'm sorry I can't be there with you today, but here I am on video. We're going to start a new assignment that we briefly discussed last time I saw you in class. So, objective for today, you are going to use what you've learned so far about shading value to practice shading a simple form. This might be a practice for you. You're kind of touching up on skills that you feel like you already have. It might be new, but either way, it's good to practice before we start our final piece. Your warm up is just to get set up for this assignment. You'll need a couple things. You'll need a new piece of drawing paper or scrap paper. There's some on the front cart, the black cart by the Promethean board. On the middle shelf, there's some drawing paper there. You're welcome to use that. If you'd rather work right in your sketchbook, that's fine. If you want to take up 2 pages, if you're working in a really small sketchbook, that might be better if you want to go across 2 pages. If you're working in the square sketchbook or the larger sketchbook with pages that are already around 8 by 11 inches, then you can use just 1 page, but it's your call, whatever you're feeling comfortable with. You'll also need drawing pencils. Try out using the ebony pencil, try out using the 4H pencil. If you need one of those, you're missing one, there are more pencils up at the front in the smaller green drawers labeled pencils. You'll also need an eraser. If you don't have one in your material kit, please find one in the small drawers up at the front as well. There's some up there. A couple due dates, deadlines, just to review. The thumbnail drawing, or drawings rather, were due on Wednesday. If you haven't turned those in, you can still turn them in through Monday, the 8th, next week. That's the same due date and deadline for the pencil value scale if you haven't turned that in just yet. Deadline's Monday. And then the form practice drawing that we're starting today is going to be due Monday the 8th, and then the Wednesday the 10th will be the deadline for this assignment. So you have this class and next class if you need it. The reason that we're practicing before we jump into our final drawing is we just want to be comfortable with shading before we start on our final. If you're thinking, I'm already comfortable, Miss King, I'm ready to start my final, that's great. I'm glad you're comfortable. Let's practice just a little bit more. I want to see if there's anything that we can edit, and then you'll be even more ready to jump into your final piece. If you're feeling like, oh yeah, I definitely need this practice, that's good too. If you want to check in with me next class before you turn this in, see if there's anything that we can edit as far as your shading or proportion as you're drawing the objects in front of you, we can check on that too. So check in with me either way. Let's see where you are. Let's see what we can improve. For this activity, it is really what it sounds like. You're going to be shading to create form in a practice drawing, and this is going to be from observation. So you're really using what you learned last class or in the last couple classes about shading value to try shading a simple form accurately. When we were drawing around the room and moving positions for fun, maybe you shaded a little bit. We're going to focus on just one object, draw it a little bit larger, and we're going to get into the value a little bit more. Those sketches were pretty rough for a lot of us. We were drawing quickly, getting comfortable drawing in the room. We're going to slow down a little bit with this activity, simplify so that we can really focus on the value in just one object and really notice where the light is coming from, where the shadows are falling, and where the highlights are on our objects. Okay, so you're probably reading through this too. You're observing the light and dark values to figure out how or where you're going to add value to make the object that you choose appear to be realistic or three-dimensional, that it looks like it's coming up off of your paper. So as you're doing this, a couple things to think about. Size of your paper, drawing around 8 by 10 inches. If you're a little bit smaller, a little bit larger with size, that's okay. Just don't go too much smaller because it's going to be tough to get into the values that you're creating and the details for this specific activity. You want to try to show 8 values minimum. So think back to your value scale that we created a little bit ago, or maybe you're finishing up today. I believe we did 10 values in that value scale. Try to show at least a range of 8 values in this drawing. Take your time. I like to start with the darker values and place and draw in where the darker shadows are going to be, and then work my way to the lighter values in an object or a drawing that I'm working on. But see what works for you. If you want to start with the highlights or start with the midtones, even test that out, see if it works for you. And then something big that we're also going to be looking for in this assignment is that it's observational. So make sure you're choosing an object that's in front of you. It doesn't have to be an object that you've drawn before. If you want to draw an object that's not necessarily in the still life display, I'm fine with that as long as it's not someone sitting next to you. It's an object that's not alive. It's sitting in front of you. It's not going to move, so you have time to look at the light. It's not going to move around, or the light isn't going to change. You could use that object. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be in the still life displays. You're going to naturally get a stronger light source if you're choosing an object that's in the still life displays, because we have those strong lights set up on the still life displays already. So it's going to give you harsh lighting or strong dramatic lighting. So it's up to you though. If you want to choose one object, as long as you're working from observation, you're not taking a photo and drawing from that. You're not drawing from memory. You're not drawing from imagination. You're drawing from something sitting in front of you. You're looking at that in real time. Okay, that's going to help you the most with this exercise. Okay, so take your time with this. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. I'll come in, I'll be back on Monday and we'll take a look at these, and you'll have time to work on this before you turn it in. You will not see an assignment posted to turn this in today. That'll be posted on Monday. I do want to take a look at where you are, even if you're finished today and you're ready to turn that in. Just hold off. We'll kind of share a little bit in the beginning on Monday, and we'll have more time to work before we turn that in. Here's some more examples of this assignment. There are a couple examples there. Notice that they're simple objects. They don't have to be really detailed objects, but all of them are showing a decent amount of values. Things are blended really nicely. These would be just fine, as these are examples for this project. You're showing where the cast shadow is on the ground. You can see where the dramatic highlights are. All those details have been accounted for. Here are a couple examples of things that are a little bit too complex. We're only going to be spending 2 class periods on this. Don't spend hours and hours on this at home. I just want to practice a little bit more before we start on our final. So don't get carried away. Don't make this a really complex project for yourself. Try to find a simple object, not too many details. The object on the right here, the little stuffed animal bunny, is very cute, but all of that texture is going to take a long time to draw. So don't choose anything that has intricate details like that. The car in the middle, although drawn very well, that's a lot of details. That's a lot of details to fit into a small drawing. That's going to take a decent amount of time. The same with the image on the left. These matches, there's so many details. It's pretty complex with all of those matches included. If they were to have shut the box of matches and just draw the box itself, that would be more what we're looking for with this simple form value drawing for practice. Okay, so something simple, not too many details, just so you can focus on value changes and creating form using shading and value. All right, I know it's the beginning of class for you as you're watching this video, but I won't be here at the end. So here's a look at homework and closure that don't exist, along with some reminders about due dates and deadlines. Your thumbnail drawing and pencil value scale deadline is Monday the 8th. That's this Monday coming up. And then the form practice drawing that we're starting today that I just introduced in this video will be due on Monday. Again, you won't see an assignment on Canvas just yet. Don't panic. We're going to turn that in together on Monday. The deadline for this assignment that we're starting today will be that Wednesday following. That'll be the 10th. All right, thank you for listening to this video in its entirety. I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday, and have a great weekend. Bye.